Good evening, guys. Welcome to one more Facebook Live session with our interstate expert panelist. Today's session is dedicated to teaching. As someone said that if there were no teachers, all the other professions would not exist. Uh, it's so true. And today's session, as we said, is dedicated to teaching courses. So let's not waste any time. I would like to welcome each and every expert panelists from different states. We have Diksha, who is giving us information from Northern Territory and Tasmania as well. And we are very fortunate to have Nirav, who is a registered migration agent. Welcome, Nirav. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
So let's not waste any time. Let's start. First point we would like to discuss is entry requirements. So Naman, can you please tell us the entry requirements for different courses starting in Perth in WA, please?
Thanks, Mangrish. So, hello everyone. I'm Naman and I would be representing Western Australia. So, I would like to start with the Diploma of Early Childhood and Education Care. So, the entry requirement for this course is IELTS test score 5.5 or PT academic equivalent to 42. So, in WA, we have various colleges which are just providing this course. We have AIWT, and the duration of the course is for 1 year, and the fees for 1 year is around 10,470. So another provider we have TAFE, and the course there is around 1.5 year. The complete duration of the course is it depends. If you are coupling it with certificate 3 of early childhood, it would be for 2 years. So the complete fees is around 25,000 in TAFE for 2 years. In WAVES, we have the same for 1.5 years. The fees would be around 12,500, and lead colleges there. The complete course is around for 2 years, and the fees would be 24,000. There is one more college, Stanley. The course duration is 1 year, and the fees is around 9,000. So the intakes in these colleges we have after every 3-4 months. We have means quarterly intakes are there in all these colleges for Diploma of Early Childhood and Education Care. Now moving to Bachelor of Education in Early Childhood and Education, Early Childhood Studies, we have ECU is there, Murdoch, Curtin. So in these all 3 universities, the course is for 4 years, and the fees in ECU is.
Hi, Naman, just a quick thing. We'll just talk about the entry requirements first.
Okay, just for all the courses?
Yes, please.
Okay, so for Bachelor of Education and Bachelor of Education, Primary, Secondary and Early Childhood Studies, the entry requirements are same in ECU and Curtin. They accept only IELTS, overall 7.5, no band less than 7 in writing and reading, and speaking and listening, it's 8. It's same for ECU, Curtin. But in Murdoch, they accept the 7.5 overall and 7 in each of them. And the next is the Master of Teaching. The same, the entry requirements would be 7.5. They accept only IELTS for Master of Teaching in all the universities: ECU, Murdoch, Curtin, UWA. Yeah, now Manpreet, can you tell us about Adelaide?
Thank you so much, Naman. Thank you, Mangrish, for this opportunity. So I'll quickly start with the entry requirement for the early childhood, as she's spoken. It's pretty much the same. So you get, you need to achieve 5.5 in IELTS or PTE for early childhood admission. So we have certificate level up till diploma, and there are various institutions who offers this program, such as TAFE SA, Equals International, Southern Cross, Queensford, many more. So we have multiple providers for that one. The entry requirement is very basic. You need to be of 18 years of old, and you need to finish year 12 for diploma level of study or certificate 3 or 4 level of studies. When it comes to the higher education, which is bachelor's and master's, we have public universities, and we've got few other universities as well who offers this program, including early childhood. And then we move towards the teaching part. So we have teaching in primary, secondary, and you can opt out the other specialization as well, such as special education or teaching English. All those sorts of specialization are available for bachelor's and higher education for post-graduation as well. The English requirement for most of them is 7 each in PTE in IELTS, or 65 each in PTE. And for masters, you're looking at obviously applying for having a bachelor's first. If in case you don't come from a teaching background, you can write a good statement of purpose just to justify. And also another thing to add on, which is the teaching capability statement. It is applicable for all teaching admissions, starting from bachelor's or master's. So you can also write a teaching capability statement explaining your interest in teaching. If you do that, you're also eligible for that apart from the English requirement. So that's it for the Adelaide for teaching and early childhood education. I'll now ask Rushta from Melbourne to explain about entry requirement for teaching. Thank you.
Thank you, Manpreet. Hi, everyone. So coming to Melbourne, there are many providers which offer teaching. So the entry requirements, basic entry requirement is passing of year 12. When it comes to English requirement, the basic English requirement for vocational courses is 5.5, no band less than 5. Talking about the higher ed English requirement, it varies from provider to provider. So for instance, we have a provider, Swinburne, the entry requirement there is 6.5 for bachelor's, no band less than 6. Whereas in Melbourne Poly, it's 7. Overall, no band less than 7. So when it comes to teaching entry requirements for teaching courses, that varies from provider to provider. Swinburne is very flexible in terms of they have like the minimum English requirement. So that is a very good option in Melbourne as well. Other providers that offer teaching, the same goes, the requirement English, when we talk about English requirement, it varies. So in general, they do have higher English requirement and the other is a passing of year 12. And mostly providers, they also need Casper test. That is also one of the requirement to enter into teaching courses, be it bachelor's level or master's level. But then again, it varies. Swinburne University, they require Casper. VU and other universities require Casper, but there are few universities which do not require Casper. So that basically varies from provider to provider. So now I'll ask, same as for master's level courses as well. There are few providers which need 88, 77 to get into the master's level program like Federation University and other providers. So now I'll ask Ravina to tell us about Sydney.
Sorry, Ravina, just a minute. Guys, I just want to put forward one thing that as you guys see that we have education panelists here and we have Neerav. So if you have any questions, please feel free to message us on YouTube and of course on Facebook where it's going. Clara is saying, please post this video after you finish so we can watch it. Of course, all our videos, what we do, it stays on Facebook and YouTube. So you can definitely go through it once we finish. But if you have any questions which is related to migration or education, feel free to message us and we'll definitely come back to you. Ravina, can you please tell us about Sydney?
Sure. Thank you, Mangarish, and thank you, Rushda. So I'll start with the courses starting from Certificate 3. So Certificate 3 in Early Childhood Education leading to Diploma of Early Childhood Education. For that courses, we normally require year 12 minimum in terms of academics, and we need 5.5 bands overall, no band less than 5 in IELTS or PT or equivalent English test. And that course can lead further to bachelor's of early childhood education and care. That would be for 4 years, and the minimum IELTS or PT requirement would be 6 overall, no band less than 6. And it can be more depending upon the institution where the student is taking admission. And further, for teaching courses, we have a bachelor's in teaching or master's in teaching that can be in early childhood education, that can be in secondary, that can be in primary, depending upon the student's needs or their area of interest. And the standard requirement for all these courses is minimum 7.5 bands overall in IELTS and 7.7 in reading, writing, and 8.8 in listening, speaking. So English requirement is pretty much same for master's courses with almost all the providers, and mostly they do prefer IELTS.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Ravina. I've got a question here, which is open for everyone, guys. Parveen Sharma is asking on Facebook at this moment saying, is 4-year study can exempt 7788 IELTS eligibility for skill assessment for Master of Teaching? So 4-year study can they give IELTS a little bit of ditch? What?
Like I can answer that question for
Sure.
this assessment, Mangesh. So is the exemptions. That's like everyone wants to know, particularly for teaching, because the score they are looking, it's very high in terms of getting assessment, which is like IELTS. You need to have IELTS academic, which is listening, speaking 8, and reading, writing 7. And they have an exemptions written in their guidelines that if you have completed total 4 years of study, which is of bachelor or higher level in the university, particularly, they say that. And that's particularly also be in the English speaking country, like in Australia, maybe in US, in Canada. If you have studied in those countries for the bachelor or higher level, that 4-year study also should include the 1 year of teaching qualification at least. So I can give an example that if you have done here the master of accounting, for example, for 2 years, then if you have done the graduate diploma for 1 year, and after that you do a diploma in any college, then you're not eligible, because the diploma you're doing from the college, and that is also less than what they require, which is minimum bachelor. So if you've done the bachelor of, let's say, bachelor of IT for 3 years, and if you do the graduate diploma in teaching for 1 year, then that meets that requirement for 4 years of exemption.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nirav. Sorry, guys. Harjab, coming back to you about the entry requirements in Brisbane. Sorry, you're mute.
Thank you, Margaret. I'm sorry for that. I apologize. Today we'll talk about Masters of Teaching, and the entry requirement is pretty much same, but it requires a bachelor's degree with 2 distinctive teaching areas. That means like you should be very capable to teach in that particular 2 trades. Could be maths or something like that. And entry requirements for English is overall 7.5 with no less than 7, but you require 8 in speaking and listening for pretty much all the universities. And that's a basic requirement, and that's in IELTS academic. And if we talk about PT academics as well, so entry requirement is 73 overall with no less than 6.65, and with speaking and listening, again, 79 and 79. And now I'll transfer to Diksha in Northern Territory and Tasmania. She will discuss in detail.
Thank you, Harjab. Thank you, Mangreesh. So hi, guys. I'll be talking about Darwin and NT and Tasmania, sorry. So these 2 states. And now, again, as my colleagues, they have talked about the various entry requirements. It's quite similar here as well in NT and in Tasmania, that for Certificate 3 in Early Childhood and Care and for Diploma of Early Childhood and Care, you need overall 5.5, bands no less than 5. And usually they also have something called LNN test, which is like literacy number test. So they just give you literacy, numericals, numbers test, and you just have to clear that. So that's also one of the requirements for most of the colleges when it comes to teaching. Also, as everybody already spoken about, like you should be at least you should be at least 18-year-old, and you should be at least year 12 pass out to be to enroll in certificate and diploma. There are other essential requirements for this specific course, just like nursing is. You need to have a criminal history check. They're going to do a record check on your criminal history. Also, you need to hold something called working with children check. So either it can be volunteer or it can be employment. Since you're a student, you can also hold a volunteer working with children check. So these are some of the critical requirements when it comes to teaching or education. Then again, when it comes to NT, we have Certificate 3 in Early Childhood and then in Diploma. And also we have courses like Bachelor of Education in Early Childhood, Primary, Secondary. So in these courses, earlier the requirement was not that high. Like, in NT, I'll talk about specifically like CDU. They used to accept PT before, but since the requirements from ATSL are pretty much high, and even they cannot accept PT or any other English exams anymore. So they have to be very strict when it in terms of selecting only IELTS as an entry requirement. So the entry requirement for bachelors here would be 6.5, no less than 6.5, which you can see is usually higher than other entry requirements for English. And for masters, they require 7 each. Like it's not 7, 7, 8, 8 here. So it's 7 each. So still, it's better than other States, because usually the requirement is 7, 7, 8, 8, 8, like you need to have speaking and listening 8, but here you just need 7 overall. Similarly, when it comes to Tasmania as well, they have early childhood and diploma courses, and you need to have overall 5.5 for these courses. And for bachelor's, you need to have again 7, and then for master's 7, 7, 8, 8. So that's about it for Tasmania and NT. Back to you, Mangarish.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Diksha. Neerav, I've got a question coming for you. Clara is again saying no invites for teachers for a long time. What is happening? Can you please shed some light there?
Yes, Mangarish. Actually, that is happening not only for teachers, for most of the occupations. As everyone aware, like after COVID situation come, they only invited mostly for nurses and like medical laboratory scientists and some of the engineers only. So definitely when the immigration will start invite again, most likely from the next month, because if there is like a federal budget will be going on 6th of October, they will announce the migration quota for this financial year. And after that, they will start to do the invitation for 189. So from October, we can expect again getting the invitation for the teachers. And the waiting, the people who are waiting currently should be for 90 points, I think, for teachers. So if you already have a 90 points, if you lodge the application in last 6 months, you can expect the invitation in next 2 months, I say.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Neerav. There were 2 people asking, Clara and Kausalya, both were asking the same. So I hope, guys, you've received your answer from Neerav. We're getting questions on YouTube as well. Mitesh is asking on YouTube that if somebody comes to Australia on a visitor visa, Neerav, and if they wish to study, can they do that?
Yes, definitely. You can apply for a student visa as long as that's happened for many of the applicants. They came here to visit, they like Australia, they like Australian culture and the study environment. So basically the immigration requirement says that you don't need to have a no further stay condition on your visitor visa. So if there is such condition, then you can't apply. You first need to apply for the waiver of that condition, and then only you can apply for the student visa. But if you don't have that condition, then like you can definitely apply, and you need to choose the the wise option, like what you want to study, how that study will help you when you go back to your country, because those are the things we need to mention in the genuine temporary entrant criteria. Yeah. And if you meet that criteria, there are a good chance you can get the visa.
Perfect. Perfect. So guys, if you are in Australia, kind of stuck at this point of time and can't go back to your country, and you wish to study further in your life, feel free to get in touch with any of the Aussizz offices. Of course, we have migration and education attached with one office. So of course, you will get all the information in there. Thanks, Neerav. I will come back to you in a while. Coming back to my education people, guys, let's talk about pathway. Naman, can you please start from Perth? Can you please tell us about the pathways? Sorry, you're mute. Can't hear you. Sorry.
Yes, sorry for that. Yeah, so for pathways, as we all discussed, the entry requirements for diploma, bachelor's and master's. So starting with the diploma, once you complete the diploma of 1 or 1.5 year, the student can enroll in bachelor's, and they can also apply for the credits based on the previous units which they have studied in diploma of early childhood and education care. Same if you have some background in we have discussed, you have some specific subjects, you have background, you have done the Bachelor of Science like in chemistry or physics, you are eligible to do Master of Teaching as well, just choosing one specific subject. So from diploma to bachelor's, and for Master of Teaching, you don't need to, it's not essential that you need to have the Bachelor of Education in secondary or primary. So Master of Teaching can be chosen based on your graduation degree if you have done related to one specific subject. Yeah, that's all for the pathways. So Manpreet, can you tell us about the Adelaide?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you so much. So for Adelaide, the pathway is very simple. If you're doing Certificate 3 plus diploma, you can apply for bachelor's credit transfer as well. So pretty much the same thing as that of the Perth. So you can apply for credit transfer if you have done diploma of early childhood already. Southern Cross have recently announced bachelor's in Adelaide. So now students who are interested to study bachelor's in early childhood education can also enroll for bachelor's in Southern Cross. So there they have the diploma of early childhood and they also have a bachelor's. So you can have a package in which obviously you'll get credit exemptions for your diploma towards your bachelor's. For master's, there's no such exemption. However, interestingly, University of Adelaide, they have a very unique packages if you are interested to study teaching. So anybody who is wanting to study teaching and at the same time they want to pursue other passions, such as music, such as mathematics, such as anything that they are specifically interested, University of Adelaide, they've got some unique packages with bachelors only. So you do bachelors of, for example, you do bachelors of teaching in primary education. At the same time, you can combine it with bachelors of music. So you will be graduated with a degree for bachelors of teaching in primary education or secondary education. At the same time, you'll have a degree for bachelors of music. So we've got such great combinations there. Similarly for masters, so somebody who wants to do in Flinders University specifically, if you have done bachelors of education, any specialization, and you also want to go for masters, you can combine that internally. So they have this dual degree combination where you get bachelors and masters together. Other than this, we don't have a university pathway much here in Adelaide. But yes, Southern Cross is one where we've seen that they have started the Bachelors of Early Childhood. So I'll now request Rishta from Melbourne to explain further about this part. Thank you.
Thanks, Manpreet. So coming to Melbourne, in Melbourne, as there are many providers, specifically, I'm going to talk about Southern Cross. As Manpreet said, Southern Cross also has a campus in Melbourne. So they offer diploma of early childhood and care, and now they're going to start their bachelor's in October. So people can apply for, once they're done with the diploma level, they can apply for credits. Same goes for Swinburne University. So if you study diploma from Swinburne University of Early Childhood and Care, you can get into bachelor's and you can get maximum of 8 credits from Swinburne as well. So that depends from provider to provider and the units. If they're matching, definitely you will get credits. So that's all from Melbourne. Ravina, can you please tell us about Sydney?
Sure, Rushda, thank you. As Rushda and Manpreet and Naman mentioned, the courses that start from Certificate 3 obviously can lead to a Diploma of Early Childhood Education and Care. And if student has done that 2 years qualification, they can move forward to their bachelor's and they can also apply for the credit exemptions. And with their bachelor's, obviously the duration would be 4 years. And if in most of the, apart from early childhood education and care, most of the bachelor's courses are packaged, as Manpreet gave an example. So students can pursue their bachelor's in one area of their interest, and then they can also do bachelor's of teaching or bachelor's in education, depending upon their requirements and their interest. For masters, basically the minimum qualification requirement that every university look for is bachelor's AQF level 7, and the student can opt for masters in early childhood education and care, and they can go for primary teaching, they can go for secondary teaching, and whatever course is as per their interest, and they can opt for the same. So entry requirements and pathways are quite similar with other states and other institutions. So I'll now would like to forward.
Thank you. Thanks, Ravina. I've just got a quick question here. Kartak Shetri is asking to education guys, should we need to study 4 years in Bachelor's of Early Childhood Education after completion of Cert 3 and Diploma of Early Childhood?
I can answer that. I don't think that they need to. If you are studying Certificate 4 or Certificate 3 in Early Childhood and Diploma, you can always get the credit. Yes, it varies for institution to institution. Say, for example, you've studied Certificate or Diploma for Early Childhood from another private vocational provider, and then you want to get credit transfer with public university. Yes, they are particular, but that doesn't mean they don't offer credit. So you're not looking at doing 4 years at all. It depends. They can give you 2 years credit as well. They can give you 1.5. They can give you 1 year. It varies. If you're interested to know more, then she can send the documents and we can assess it for the credit transfer as well.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mangresh.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Manpreet. Diksha, can you please tell us about NT and Tasmania?
Yeah, thanks, Mangresh. I think most of the things that are already covered, like people can come here and study like Cert 3 diploma, and they can get credits and go into bachelor's, and their overall duration for bachelor's will be reduced. Also, I would like to say for students like who are not very confident about their English right now, so they are not able to get that mark of 7 each in IELTS, or they're not able to get a mark of that 7.788. So they can use these pathways to also enhance their English at that particular time, because obviously if they're studying Cert 3 and diploma, they get good 1.5 years to work on their English. Also, they're already in Australia, so obviously they're in a English speaking country. So that would help them to get that, to get that confidence to get those 7.7 or 8.8 in IELTS. And for these certificate and diplomas, all you need is 5.5. So even if you have low English, I would encourage students that they come and start their studying in a diploma. And once they have completed their diploma, I'm sure, because they one more thing, as part of these certificates and diplomas, you're doing placements as well. So usually in a certificate 3, you can see a 120 hours of placement, and in a diploma, you can see a 240 hours of placements. And you do these placements in certain like education centers or schools. So that also helps you to get that confidence and get that knowledge, which will help you to improve your score in English and go for a bachelor's later. That's
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Diksha. Neerav, I've got a question coming up for you. When it comes to 190 and 491, can you please shed some light on what is happening with teaching?
Yes, definitely. So for the 190, that's like a state nomination visa, and the 491, that's as 2 pathways, like a regional and the family. So actually currently all of the states, like they close their occupation list and the requirements due to like COVID, and after like June, they reached their quota for the last financial year. So from July, they have not started to open for all other occupations. They are just only inviting for the occupations which help them in terms of critical industries like nurses and the medical field or the engineers. So all of the states will open the teaching occupation most likely from next month in October, after 6th of October, when they will actually get the quota from the federal government. However, like if you ask me about the previous requirement, like for the, let's say for the New Southwest, the teacher used to get the invitation if you're staying over there, and if you like working over there, they used to get the invitation around 85 to 90 points, And particularly for Victoria, there was a requirement of 2 years of experience as a teacher. And for the like Tasmania, they required a 1 year study in Tasmania. For South Australia, they used to require a 1 year study and 3 months experience in South Australia. For Western Australia, they used to require like 2 years study plus job offer later in teaching. However, these requirements were before June, like when they close actually. However, there are chances that this requirement might be changed because the quota might be reduced as well this year due to COVID. They might not open as full place as previously. So we need to wait until October and wait for the requirements actually, and wait for the occupation list as well, because some of the state might don't open as well for teachers, So it all depends on the teachers, the state requirement, the state guidelines, for what occupation they want to invite from October until June next year. However, and they can definitely change again from July next year, 2021, because immigration will allocate the new quota from July. Yeah, so this is the current scenario for all the states.
Perfect. Thanks, Neerav. Just a quick question coming up related to that is, what is the processing time for student dependent onshore? Do you know anything about it?
Student dependent onshore can take around like 4 to 5 months, and it can take more than that as well, because currently the delay because of the there is no medical happening, actually in Victoria. If you ask in Victoria, in other states you can definitely do that, but in Victoria there is no medical happening, so that's why the immigration is getting like less application with the medical done, So that is the reason they are delaying the application as well. And all the immigration officers in Victoria are also working from home. So that can be the reason as well, that they're not assessing as quickly as when they used to work in the office.
True, true. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nirav. Guys, we've covered the entry requirements and we covered the pathways. Now, the next point which comes up is, of course, the colleges and the available intake. So starting from, again, Naman, can you please tell us, Naman, first tell us what are the different colleges we have and then the intakes, please.
Yes, starting with the Diploma of Early Childhood and Education, we have in WA, we have AIWT, TAFE is there, WAVES and LEAD. And the duration of the course is different in all these providers. Like in AIWT, the course is for 1 year. In TAFE, it is around 1.5, and same in the WAVES College. And LEAD, the duration of the course is 2 years. And the intakes for this Diploma of Early Childhood and Education Care, there are multiple intakes in a year. Means quarterly, the upcoming intake is in now October, and the next would be in January. So coming to Bachelor of Education in Early Childhood Studies, Primary and Secondary, we have ECU, Murdoch and Curtin. In ECU, we have the 2 intakes in a year, February and then July. In Murdoch, at the moment, they have just February intake, and the Curtin, again, the both Feb and July intakes are there. Same with the Secondary and Primary, the intakes are almost same. And for Master of Teaching in Early Childhood and Secondary and Primary, ECU, again, they have the 2 intakes in a year. And in Murdoch, they have at the moment the Feb intake, and UWA, they have only 1 intake in a year, and it currently it is Feb 2021. And Curtin, same, they have 2 intakes, February and then July. Yeah, that's all for the intakes for WA. Now, Manpreet, can you share the same thing about Adelaide?
Thank you very much. For Adelaide, we have few providers for early childhood education. We have TAFE SA, we have Equals International, Southern Cross, then we have Queensford, Victorian Institute of Technology. We've got few providers for early childhood education. The intakes are very flexible, so they have intake every quarter, so that's not an issue at all. So if you start in January, you can start in February, March, followed by July, August. So they've got multiple intakes. So intakes is not an issue for early childhood education. However, for bachelor's level and higher education level, there are specific intakes. Just to update, Torrance University now also offers bachelor's of education and master's of education. Masters of Education specifically, they have introduced in Adelaide now. It wasn't there earlier. The intakes for them is, first one is in February, the other one is in June. Then they have September intake. Apart from them, the public universities such as Flinders, Uni-SA, Uni-Adelaide, they have all sorts of bachelor's specialization starting from primary, secondary, and middle education. For them, the intake they have is February. That's the major intake. With Flinders University, their intake starts at March, but most of these, they have just February and March intake. That's it for Adelaide. Now I'll ask Krishna to explain about the Melbourne. Thank you.
Thanks, Manpreet. So in Melbourne, there are many providers which offer courses on diploma, bachelor's and master's level. Coming to the diploma providers, we have SCEI, JTI, CHISM, ETEA, TMG, IHNA, Academia International, Torrance. We have ALG, Swinburne, Box Hill. So when we talk about the intakes, there are providers which offer monthly intakes, but mostly it's either quarterly or after every 2 months. So the intakes, when it comes to, there are many intakes available when it comes to diploma level courses. When we talk about bachelor's and master's level courses, that varies from provider to provider. Generally, there are 2 intakes. Number one is like Feb-March, which is T1, and the other one is July intake. So the providers which are mainly we focus, which are very popular in Melbourne, includes SCHE, Melbourne Polytechnic, Box Hill, Swinburne universities. There are also other universities including RMIT, VU, Deakin, La Trobe, which offers teaching courses on both master's and a bachelor's level as well. And their intakes also vary. For instance, VU has both the intakes. So there are a lot of options in Melbourne, and the most popular ones, as I mentioned before, are the Melbourne Poly, Box Hill, TAFE, and Swinburne is very popular amongst those as well. And teaching courses are taught, there are different specialization. They're either in early childhood, primary or secondary. Coming to Melbourne, so we have a very popular course here in Melbourne. Mostly people who have done bachelor's in any stream and they want to get into teaching career, they go with grad diploma certificate in early childhood education and care. So that is offered only by RMIT and Victoria University. It is for 1 year, and the intake is available both. They are available on both the intakes. Number one, that is in Feb March, and the other is in July.
Thank you.
Ravina,
Thank you so much, Rushda. I'll come back to Ravina. Before that, I've got a question. Shahid Virk is on the line, and he's asking a couple of times the same question. So, of course, question goes to Nirav. Nirav, Shahid is asking, can we apply for 491, 190, 189, having 3 years of overseas teaching experience as a university lecturer? And if possible, what are the requirements?
Yes, definitely. University lecturer, you can apply. For the university lecturer, you need to do the skill assessment through.
No, he has worked as a university lecturer.
Yeah, so if he has worked for 3 years of experience, so he can apply for skill assessment as a university lecturer, and that occupation is in medium and long-term list. So based on that, you can apply for the 189 skill independent visa, even state nomination or the 491. However, like 189, as I said, for that as well, they're inviting around 90 points, whenever they will start in October. So after getting skill assessment, he should try to get maximum points as a university lecturer. Because of his 3 years of experience, he can get 5 points for that. If you do his PT, if you do the NATI, like PT 8 each, and if he cleared the NATI, and if he also study here, he can reach to 90 points. Based on if he is not married or like if his partner is skilled or not, and there are chances for the state nomination and for the regional nomination as well. However, for that, they need to wait until October, as I said, because all the states are currently closed. So we can't predict what exactly there will be the requirement, but definitely you can apply for the 189 as a university lecturer.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nirav. Coming back to Ravina, can you please tell us about the colleges and intake? Sorry to disturb in between, but I hope, Shahid, you got the answer, what you're looking for. If you still haven't, you can get in touch with Nirav. Thank you. Ravina.
Thanks, Mangarish. So I'll start with Certificate 3 and Diploma. So for these wet courses, we have got few providers like AHMI, AIA College, then Queensford is there. So Kirana College is also there. So with almost all the wet providers, we have a monthly intakes option and flexibility in terms of intakes availability. And in most of the wet providers, they do offer intakes like after every 2 months time or quarterly. And so there is no problem with the intakes availability. Students can join at any point of time throughout the year, depending upon their requirements and whenever they want to study or start with their courses. In terms of bachelor's and master's, we have got providers like Excelsior College is there, CSU is there with regional campuses, and then Macquarie University is there. So with almost all the higher ed providers, they basically have 2 main intakes like February and July. But with most of the providers in higher ed, they usually have either February intake or March intake. But July is also available with few providers. So that's all with the intakes and institutions. So I would like to pass on to Harjap for Brisbane.
Talking about Queensland, we'll talk about Masters of Teaching major in early childhood, secondary or primary. The major universities covering it is QUT, or you can study in University of Sunshine Coast, this university, James Cook University, and ACU as well. All these universities have Feb intake available for 2021. And talking about QUT and James Cook, they just only do intakes in February. Whereas ACU and USC, they also have July intake available. You can enroll in that. And all these courses of duration of 2 years. And now I'll ask Diksha to tell us about Northern Territory and Tasmania.
Thanks, Harjap. About NT, first I'll talk about NT. So we do have 3 providers for Diploma of Early Childhood and Care, basically. So we have LNK and Australian Careers College. They have Certificate 3 in Early Childhood and Care and also Diploma in Early Childhood and Care. And now coming to the main public university in Darwin, which is Charles Darwin University. So they do have Diploma of Early Childhood and Care. They do have Bachelor of Education with early childhood primary, and then they also have Masters of Teaching, which is early childhood primary and secondary, so basically all streams. Now when it comes to Tasmania, in Tasmania there are various providers which are offering Certificate 3 in early childhood and care and Diploma of Early Childhood and Care, and those are RGIT, then we have Tasmania TAFE, then Brighton Pacific, Australian Academy International. So these are the ones which are offering these courses, and also we have the public University of Tasmania. They have Bachelor of Education in Early Childhood and Master of Teaching in Primary and Early Childhood as well, and some of the secondary subjects too. Thank you. Back to you, Mankrish.
Thank you so much, Diksha. Shahid is asking, who should I contact? Shahid, all the details are in the Facebook comment section, where you can see there is a link where you can click, you can contact any of the Aussizz offices, and of course you will get the contact details. Nirav, before we proceed, I've got one question coming up for you. Bhumi is asking, I have a positive skill assessment of private tutor and teacher from VETASYS. So is there any chance of 491 or 190 in any states, especially in NSW?
So for the private tutor, as that occupation is in the short-term skilled occupation list, so definitely you can apply for the skill independent 189. So you need to go through 190 or the 491 state nomination only. As he said that he want to specifically go for the New South Wales. So New South Wales previously used to invite for the 491. If you were living in regional New South Wales for like 3-4 months, and if you have a skill assessment as a private tutor, you should get the invitation, But now, as they already closed their previous opening, so now they are going to do it again in October. So if you plan to live in regional, if you're already not living now, you can expect the invitation. However, for 190, that can be competitive because there will be more applicants applying. So it all depends that what will be the requirement. And if they open for the 190, then definitely you can apply. But we need to wait for that exact requirement.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nirav. There was one more question. Sadhav Puri is asking, what do you need for skill assessment for a teacher? Can you just shed a little bit of light on that? I don't expect you to tell everything because I know you're not someone who does the skill assessment, but just a little bit who doesn't know anything.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I can definitely explain. So for the skill assessment, basically what AITSL is looking for, you need to have total 4 years of study. Okay. In the 4 years of study, you need to have minimum 1 year of study as a teacher. So it means like, if you are studying overseas, you need to have Bachelor of Education. Maybe if you're studying in Australia, then graduate diploma in teaching or master in teaching. That should at least cover 1 year of teaching qualification. And that teaching qualification should include 45 days of training, which is part of your qualification. So in India, like we had so many applicants who used to study Bachelor of Education, but I think before 10 years back, there was only like 30 days training, as a part of Bachelor of Education. But those education qualification, we can't use it, for skill assessment. So that's why 45 days training is very important as a part of qualification. So this is the qualification requirement. Apart from that, you require your English language requirement, which is like listening, speaking 8 and reading, writing 7 in IELTS academic particularly. And you can get an exemption, as we said earlier, that if you have studied 4 years in English speaking country, as a bachelor or higher level, you can get an exemption as well. So the main requirement is qualification, and the second one is English. So if you have those two requirements, you can get skill assessment easy.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nirav. There's one more question. Nirav is a popular guy today. Nirav, one more question coming up. This is on YouTube. Sorry, Nirav, this is for open for everyone. I'm business grad in accounting. Can I study in Australia in teaching? What IELTS score do I need to study? So somebody who has done graduation in accounting, in business in accounting, he wants to study teaching.
I think education team, like Rushda can answer this
Exactly.
question.
Or thank you, Neerav. Yes, anybody can study. Like if they're talking about grad cert, mostly people who have done either bachelor's or master's, they can choose up masters of teaching, or if they want, they can also do grad certificate in early childhood and care. It is available in 2 providers in Melbourne. If you want to know further entry requirements and all, you can definitely contact me or any of our team members, and we are happy to assist you, because that is a very popular course these days amongst accounting background or IT background people. As you know, Neerav, many people these days are doing that course. So definitely they can start that one as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ruzda. Guys, there are different scholarships which are available as well. Time to time they appear because there's a COVID situation which is happening. Few of the colleges are giving any few scholarships. So if you have any different questions about that, feel free to get in touch. Depending on the course and depending on the state and depending on so many things, there are different scholarships which we would be able to tell you about it. So feel free to get in touch. Now, Neerav, floor is all yours. We have discussed so much about education. If I'm a student, or if I've just finished my teaching degree, what information and what other tactics you could give us so that we can proceed to the next level?
Yes, definitely. So like someone who is planning to do a study in teaching or who already completed their study, they need to look first the English language requirement, that is very high, because like in that is particularly also in IELTS academic. It might be easy for someone to get it, but for most of them it's difficult, so if you're already studying that course, you should plan to do the IELTS academic while completing your study. So whenever you are about to complete your study, you are ready with your English test, and you can apply for the skill assessment straight away. And at the same time, because we got many questions from the clients that for the immigration as well, for the teachers, they accept only IELTS. It's not like that. For the immigration points purpose, you can do the PT exam, you can do TOEFL, you can do CAE or OET. So if you get the PT score 79 each, you can get 20 points even as a teacher. So it's not like that you need to get 8 in each in IELTS academic only to get 20 points. So you can do the skill assessment based on IELTS, and you can get 20 points based on your PT score. So again, like in this competitive situation in Australian immigration, I will recommend everyone to try to get maximum points by which they can cover. So they should try for the PT maximum. They should do their English language, the NATI exam. And if they are planning to study, I would recommend that they should study in regional. So that can help them to get extra 5 points as well for that. So that they can get 90 points easily. And apart from that, studying in regional, like in Adelaide or maybe in Perth or in Gold Coast, that can help for the state nomination as well in the future, because most of the state in the regional give the invitation if you're already studying over there in regional areas, or if you're already working over there. So that would be my advice. And for this year, for the teachers, immigration has almost allocated more than 13,000 occupation ceilings, that include early childhood, secondary school teacher, and special needs teacher. And however, this is just a total, so they can't go maximum invitation for the teachers in this financial year, but definitely how many invitations they need to issue, that they will announce in next month in October, 6th of October. So subject to that, if you have 90 points, 85 points as a teacher, you can get most likely invitation for 189. But definitely for the state nomination, I would say still try to get a maximum points, because most of the states now look for the maximum points applicants, because immigration is going towards the global talent. If everyone is knowing now that immigration want to attract the high skilled talent from all over the world in Australia, rather than focusing on this only skill migration. So that's why, like, if you have achieved something, for example, if you have done the PhD, if you're working as well in your field, if you get and for the global talent, you can apply as if there is a qualification PhD in education, you can apply in that as well, later on. So immigration will be opening more occupation in global talent. Right now they're open for like IT or maybe for the medical field only, but definitely in future they will open for different fields as well. So definitely, if you're planning to study teaching or if you're studying teaching, don't worry, you have pathways available for the PR in any state, but you need to make sure that you try your best to achieve maximum points. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nirav. There are still few questions remaining, guys. We are running out of time at this point of time. We tried our level best to cover most of the questions when it comes to education and migration. If you have many more questions, please, there is a link just on above where we are talking right now on Facebook and YouTube. Feel free to just click it and you will get all the information about our offices and the numbers. You can get in touch with us. You can either send us an email or you can send us a Facebook message as well. And we'll definitely try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much, my colleagues from different states. Thank you, Nirav, again, who's covered in intensive migration kind of background as well. So thank you so much, guys. We will meet in 2 weeks again with a different topic. Till then, happy Friday. It's already close to finishing hours. So enjoy your evening and look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.